Hello, my name is Hannah. Today I'll be presenting my Honors College research proposal which analyzes how public perceptions of meat consumption impact the environment. To give a brief background on the topic, research has shown how meat consumption has higher levels of greenhouse gas emissions, land use, and water use. Thus, plant-based diets have a lower environmental impact. While the existing research has revealed the impact of meat consumption on the environment, the potential for plant-based diets to mitigate climate change, and the public underestimation of how diets impact the environment, it has not shown how education could potentially alter these public perceptions. On the left, the diagram shows a comparison of everyday food items with the carbon emissions of driving a mid-sized car. It's amazing to see how 110 grams of beef is equivalent to driving about 10.5 kilometers. This is much higher than the carbon emissions, say, from 110 grams of lentils, which is all the way over on the left. The diagram on the right illustrates the number of resources that go into producing a quarter-pound hamburger. While this is only a small part of an everyday meal, it's amazing to think that over 52 gallons of water go into creating it. To give an overview of my specific research, I'm analyzing how public perceptions are an essential factor in determining if dietary choices are a feasible method of mitigating climate change. My primary goals are to identify what percentage of the population would be willing to switch to reduced meat diets and to understand the impact of these changes. I also hope to learn how environmental education and external supports, such as increased accessibility to vegetarian diets, could encourage people to make more sustainable choices. In a 2012 survey from NPR, 39% of people chose to eat less meat within the last calendar year. However, only about 29% of this sample chose to do so because of the environmental impact. I hope to understand if increased environmental education could increase this percentage. To frame my study, I created 5 key questions. What are the public perceptions of meat consumption? How could education potentially change these perceptions? To what extent would the public be willing to change their diets? And what resources are needed for the public to change to plant-based diets? And finally, what are some reasons people choose plant-based diets? To carry out this survey, I have created a sample that would have a targeted age range of people from 18 to 25 years old. The reason for this sample is that this demographic would have a key influence on the next generation's dietary choices, thus there is longevity for the results of this survey. To frame the methodology, the survey would be composed of a pre-test, an informational section, and a post-test. The pre-test would ask basic demographic questions, dietary questions, and some foundational questions such as analyzing what level of environmental education participants have. The information sheet would be composed of a summary of how diets containing meat and plant-based diets compare in regard to the 3 key factors we discussed earlier. And it would also include an example of a healthy vegetarian diet to help dispel any misconceptions that you need meat in order to be healthy. Finally, it would be composed of a post-test, which would ask the same dietary questions to understand if there was any change after environmental education on the topic. After analyzing various sources, there are 4 primary areas where there are likely to be results. These would be that less environmental education, cultural attachments to meat, perceived health benefits of meat, and social and economic barriers would all contribute to a lower willingness to eat plant-based diets. By identifying and quantifying these areas, we can help to analyze ways that we can alter the public perceptions and enable people to make these healthy changes. The significance of this survey is that it could help assist in climate mitigation and have a positive environmental impact. This really shows how everyday individuals can have the power to make changes to help our climate. Some potential limitations is that there is a narrow sample selection and a small sample size. This is designed to be a starting point for research. As such, the campus provides a case study so that we can see how on-campus dining options can be changed and there can be increased environmental education, all of which can be implemented then on a broader scale for a future study. And as with any survey, there is a risk of participant bias. However, there are several precautions within my survey to prevent this from impacting the results. Ultimately, increased environmental education and accessibility to plant-based diets may foster widespread public transition to plant-based diets and may become a significant opportunity to mitigate climate change. My purpose in creating this survey is to help everyday individuals understand that if we work together and make these changes, we all have the power to help resolve this climate crisis.